Now that we've seen this absence request form being previewed, I'm going to show you how we actually added some of those features for the dynamic or intelligent form behavior. And we use something called behaviors. And a behavior is an event that occurs whilst the form is running or loading or being submitted. And we can do things when those events occur. So for instance, if I click here on the form background, we'll see these are certain behaviors that are available when the form is open, submits data, is closed, or receives a call from another browser window. We have the page also has events, as do individual objects. They all have their own specific behavior events. So let me now I'm going to add a button onto the page here, and I'm just going to show you how we do a few things we saw in the preview. Let's say when we press that button we want to move on to the next page, but we want to make sure that some required fields have been filled in. So we're going to choose the button is pressed event. I'm going to click on that, and now we switch into behavior mode. We retain the same toolbox layout property arrangement, and to check for those required fields I just drag in this command here, and then in the property bar on the right hand side I click add. And here I'm now presented with the 4 pages that I've got in my current form application. And at this stage I want to check for, let's say, the first name, last name, email address, country, phone number and department. Those have been added to the list on the right hand side, and Perfect Forms does everything else that we saw in the preview. So it will handle the messaging, it'll highlight the missing or the required fields in red, and it will stop, requiring the respondent to try again. If everything has been completed, then it's going to move on to execute the next command in our behavior. At the moment there isn't a next command, so let's add one. So for instance, let's say at this point we wanted to jump to a different page in the form based upon which country was selected. So here we can see we've got United States, Canada and other, 1, 2 and 3. So let's jump to a different page now. We'll go back to the behavior, and we're going to do a conditional branch. So we can do true false branches or multiple ones in this case. So I'm going to say if it's United States, then we're going to jump to a page. So we'll use the show page command. If it's Canada, we were going to jump to a different page. And otherwise we're going to display a message. We can specify which page gets jumped to over on the right hand side here, the next page previous, a specific page, here are our available pages, and I can specify the condition by clicking on the join line. So I'm going to say if on the user info page inside this group the country value is equal to 1, we can use value or caption. So that was United States. So to deal with Canada we'll use the caption. So if the country caption is equal to Canada, it's going to come down this line. Otherwise, always if no other condition is met, it's going to come down here and show whatever message text we type in here. So that's a very common requirement, conditional behavior. The next thing we'll look at is something equally common, which is how to do calculations. So we're going to use the set field command here to actually perform a calculation. And we're going to calculate, for instance, the date difference. If I go back to our form, to the second page in the form, we specified the from and to dates. And I'm going to calculate the difference now between those. Using the set field command, where do we want to write the result of this date difference calculation? On the second page in our form, to the total days field. And how do we calculate that? Well, we're going to use a formula, and we're going to use here a function, the date difference function, to specify the difference between this field, date from, and this field, date to, and then in days, years, months, I'm going to say days, so it's just D for days. And that's done. So that's a typical behavior. In the next video I'm going to show you an advanced behavior command.